Hello, and welcome to today's video. For this video, I'm going to be discussing the vibes that I get from certain numbers. I figured we'd start off pretty simple with the number 1. I feel like the vibe that 1 gives off is kind of like a pretty chill, low-key vibe, maybe just a little teeny bit of like pride and ego, but overall it's kind of like a soft letter. It's just very sweet and just kind of chill. I like the number 1 overall. But then we get on to 2. I feel like 2 just feels even more casual, very friendly, very wholesome. I feel like 2 just has a very inviting vibe. So I do like the number 2 a lot for that reason. Moving on to number 3. I feel like number 3 has a little bit more of an odd vibe, which is fitting because it is an odd number. It feels just a little bit more out there, but it also feels a little bit more exciting and like almost kind of interesting. Like 3 has a little bit of like an air of mystery to it, which I think is really nice. Moving on to number 4. 4, I feel like just feels like a solid number. It feels healthy, it feels firm, it feels secure. Like I would trust number 4. Like 4 has my complete trust. Moving on to 5. 5 feels like on its own, it's a little bit silly, it's a little bit interesting, but it's like the foundation of something great, and when it expands on itself, it's just great things happen. I mean, 5 plus 5 makes 10. That feels so right. That feels so right. Next up, I think it's fitting to skip to the number 10 since we are on the topic. 10 feels like a good firm number. It feels like it's getting to be a little much, like he might be in over his head slightly, but overall the number 10 is just kind of like he just feels good and healthy and solid. Moving on to the next number, we're gonna go with 37. 37 gives an interesting vibe. I feel like it gives a kind of a complete vibe, but in an incomplete way. Why I get that vibe is because 3 plus 7 equals 10, so it's got like that just healthy kind of vibe there. But it also is like, it starts with 3, 3 is a little bit odd. 7 is a nice number. I haven't discussed 7 yet. I feel like 7 just feels like, 7 feels creative, 7 feels special, like it's got a little bit of character to it, but it's also, you know, just kind of hanging out there. But so I think 37 is overall a pretty nice number, but that compared to 73, because 73 is the same 3 and a 7 makes 10, so I feel like you got that going there, but 73 just feels so much more mature, so much more powerful, strong. I feel like 73 just has a really nice, like, fulfilling vibe to it. Next up, we're going to jump to the number 98. This one, it feels like it's really getting up there. It's kind of special, like, in that it's close to 100, but it's just like, it's just missing something. Like, it's, you almost got that A+, but you're just settling for the A. And that, you know, not my favorite vibe personally. Personally, I would go for the A+, the 100%. Which brings us on to 100. 100, such a satisfying number. It's just like, look now, there are 3 digits, like, we've got those big zeros looking real classy, and, you know, it's got that, like, beautiful vibe, but 100 does not compare to 101. The vibe of 101 is just absolutely immaculate. I love the energy that it brings. It's like 101, it's got, like, that textbook, college, like, higher level of learning vibe to it, but it's also got that, like, quirky, exciting number, like 101 Dalmatians sort of vibe. 101 just puts you in a good mood, and so or at least it puts me in a good mood, so I love the general vibe of 101. Now we get on to 102. 102 is a little bit try hard. It's almost 101, but it's an even number instead of an odd number, and I feel like there are pros and cons to that, but it's kind of like a mixed vibe. Overall, I like it. I like the vibe of 2. It's such a friendly number, so being 102, I feel like it's still got a little bit of that friendliness, but with a little bit more, like, ego to it. Like, they're like, oh, look, I'm kind of friendly, but also 3 digits, so take that. Now, we're talking kind of about 3 digits. I feel like that kind of brings it into, well, what happens with 4 digits? So I feel like a good 4-digit number would be 1,443. The vibe that this number brings is like that there's a lot going on, but that it's still kind of controlled, it's still kind of contained. It's a nice number because 1 plus 4 plus 4 plus 3, that is 11. Why is that a good thing? I think it's a good thing because 11, I don't think I discussed 11 yet. 11 is one of those numbers where it's like, it's the first time you're seeing 2 of the same number in a row. And something about that just feels like empowering. It feels innovative. It feels special. So having 1,443, like it kind of brings in that special vibe with those numbers adding up to 11, but it also has a really solid mixture of numbers. I feel like having the two fours in there kind of gives it a vibe of like consistency in that middle section, but also having the 4 digits, it kind of like opens the realm of possibilities. So I feel like it's a very creative and like almost just like inspiring number in that sense. Moving on from there, another great 4-digit number, I would have to go with probably 7,641. This number's got a great variety of numbers within it. I mean, it's got the 7 and 6 that are pretty close to each other, but then it kind of jumps into this middle ground 4. 4 is obviously, like I said, it's a really solid number, feels really firm, and it just feels right. So having that 4 in there, I think is great. And then ending off with the 1, like, it just kind of brings an energy to it that I feel like it makes it feel just like a secure number, like something that you can trust and like rely on. So I think that that one's a great one for those reasons. Moving on to something even more extreme, we're going to skip the 5-digit numbers and move on to 6-digit numbers. So I'm going to go with 107,361. This number's got a lot going on, but it feels expensive. It feels special. It feels like this is the biggest, like, this is the start to really big things. And so I feel like it's just got like a very empowering energy to it and very fulfilling. Next up, we're going to jump back down a little bit, kind of take a break from the really big numbers. I feel like there's so much going on in them that it's hard to truly like explain their entire vibe. We're going to go back down to 3 digits for a second. Next up, we have 999. 999 is just a clean, crisp number, and that, you know, it's 3 nines in a row. That just looks really nice, very aesthetically pleasing, but it also is like on the cusp of greatness. Like it's just barely missing something. It just needs a little bit more. So I feel like 999, it's a pretty number, but it's like, it just hasn't quite reached its full potential yet, but it's so close. And I honestly relate to that personally. I wouldn't fully compare myself to the number 999, but I love the vibe that it brings of that, like, almost achieving that greatness. I feel like I'm in a place in my life where it's like, I'm really getting to that point where I'm almost ready to be a 999. I'm almost ready to truly be at that almost achieving greatness. Like, I'm doing a lot of good things, but I feel like I'm getting close at least to that, you know, almost genuine greatness phase. And so I do like the number 999 for that. I feel like it does a great job kind of representing what I'm working towards in my life right now. So I resonate with that one a lot for those reasons. Moving on, I've got one final number for today. The final number for today is going to be -5. We haven't done anything with negative numbers so far, but I feel like it's important to kind of mention the vibe that they bring out. I choose the number -5 specifically because I feel like it's a prominent negative number. Like, it just feels like it's important. You know, 25 minus 30 is -5. And that, just knowing that makes -5 feel really symbolic. Because the number 25, I didn't really mention the number 25 before, but I love the number 25. I feel like it's just got like a solidness to it. It's got a consistency to it. I love the number 25 because it represents 25%, which is a quarter of something, which you need 4 quarters to make a whole. Number 4, great number. Like I said, it's so solid, so firm. And so knowing that 25 is like a very important building block of a set of 4, you know, 4 25s gets you to 100. I feel like that number just feels very special and meaningful for that reason. I know I'm getting into more numbers than just -5, but this is really important for understanding why I feel the way that I do about the number -5. So moving on to the number 30. Number 30 is the multiple of 5 times 6. 5 and 6 are both great numbers, but I feel like when you put them together, like, it just brings this energy to it. The number 30 feels really strong. It feels secure. Like, it just is one of those numbers that really just gives off an air of like, yes, this is an important number. Like, this number is going to mean something. And so the fact that you can take 2 numbers that I feel like have such significant vibes to me and subtract the larger one from the smaller one, which is a little bit unusual. You know, normally when you're doing math, especially with like day-to-day type calculations, it's going to be the bigger number minus the smaller number. But in this case, it's a smaller number minus the bigger number. You end up with -5. There's so much meaning that goes into getting you to that -5 that just brings out so much importance and depth to that number. 5 is a great number. It's got a lot going for it. It's such like a base building block. -5 almost is like, it's an inverse, yes, of 5, but in a way it feels completely different. It brings a new energy. It's like it's expanding into this unknown realm. You're trying something different. You're seeing something new. And -5, it's like the building block of an alternate reality. It kind of gives you a vision and an insight into how much more there is out there than just the positive numbers. So I feel like -5 is super impactful for that reason. Obviously, the other negative numbers can feel impactful as well, but I feel like -5 is like a neutral but solid enough number that it really brings out an energy that you can't quite get with the other numbers. But yeah, so those are kind of my feelings on some specific numbers. Let me know if there are any other numbers that you guys would like to know what I think of personally, the vibe that I catch, or any numbers that I mentioned today that you guys don't totally agree with the vibe that I catch from them. I'm curious to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below, and make sure to like and subscribe as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.